And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show, Undiscovered Gems. And today, we got a great show about weddings. Let me ask you, how many weddings have we seen in movies? How many stories have we heard about weddings? Movies like Shotgun Wedding, Marry Me, Coming to America, Corpse Bride, and my favorite, Bridesmaids, that was very funny. But the one thing that we find about these movies and stories is that the couples are always dragging themselves to the altar on the wedding day, just tired out from all the stress of the decisions they had to make and the planning they had to do. But today, we have Becky Ringler. She solved that problem. Not only did she solve the problem, she's taking everything out of their hands, and all they have to do is arrive and have the best experience of her life. Becky Ringler has a company called Simple Kona Beach Weddings. It's in Kona, Hawaii. It's a destination wedding, Hawaii style. And she takes everything, the stress out of your hands. So if you want to go to a wedding and go to Hawaii and have a wedding, you go see Becky. And last, Becky just finished a book. It's a coloring book called Aloha Adventures. This is a coloring book for adults and kids alike. It's a book about Hawaii and also something to give to the kids to color and play with if they're going to a wedding in Hawaii. Becky, that's a long intro. You deserve it. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me. This will be fun
Good.
today.
All right. So tell us a little bit about the business and how you got into it.
Sure. So as you so beautifully shared, my business is Simple Kona Beach Weddings. I plan, coordinate, and officiate very beautiful, simple, elegant weddings here in Hawaii. And my goal, and most of the time, by the way, that's on the beach. It could be in a private home, occasionally
Mm.
it's at a venue, but almost, I would say, like 95% of the time, it is on the beach. And my whole goal for the entire thing is to make it as stress-free as possible for everybody, because I would say almost all of my couples that come to me are coming from somewhere else, from thousands of miles away. I myself, my husband and I got married here in Kona before we lived here. I know firsthand what it is like and how stressful it can feel when people don't communicate well. So my goal is to take care of all of that stuff so that the last thing you're stressing about is your wedding. Like, the wedding should be like the most, hopefully everything else too, but hopefully the wedding is super enjoyable, fun experience for you, something that you can remember forever. And yeah, we moved here, Charles, about gosh, it will be, let's see, what's today? So in a few days, on September 6th, I think, in 2013, we moved here to Hawaii.
Mm.
We didn't really have a plan per se. I had a blogging business, a personal development business at the time. And a bunch of things happened. After we moved here, I was like bedbound with a back injury, and then I got cancer, which is fine, by the way, obviously. And all of that time kind of made me think about, like, what's really important to me? What is the thing that I love the most? And I actually wrote a book at that time on manifesting your perfect mate. And somehow that snowballed into a friend said, "Hey, you should really do weddings." And it was
Mm.
like this big light bulb moment came on for me. And I was like, that's what I should be doing. And I got a website set up. I got myself registered with the state. I got myself ordained, and I put something on Facebook, and the very next day I had my first booking. So it kind of just snowballed from there, and everything else I was doing sort of fell away. And here it is, over 10 years later. And yeah, we've been going strong. It's been really fun. So I
Wow.
hope I answered your question, Charles. That was
You
kind of a
did,
long.
masterfully. You did. So, you have this business. How much of your past career has impacted the business that you have today? Are there
Oh,
any elements of it?
yeah. I mean, I was originally, well, I went to Northwestern for theater. I was a professional actress in New York for a time. In school, I also produced several shows. So that was a good production thing. And then after being a professional performer for several years, I moved to San Francisco. I went to grad school for marriage and family therapy. So I was a marriage and family therapist for several years. And I feel like, and then I was a dating relationship coach, like all these things. I feel like everything sort of supports this idea of making this beautiful experience, which I think that a wedding should be one of the happiest days of your life. Hopefully not the happiest day. It should be one of the happiest days, right?
Hmm.
Hopefully you should have many, many happy days.
Sure.
But I feel like all the things that I've done sort of culminated into making this just right. Like I very organized. I like to, I can handle, there's a lot of stress sometimes that can occur. So that's where the therapy background comes in to make it
Mhm.
feel an enjoyable experience. And of course I do officiate as well. And there I get I get a chance essentially to perform, I guess. But in the most genuine way. I get to be
Sure.
really present with everybody. So it's a really, it feels like a perfect, no pun intended, a perfect marriage of my
Mhm.
skills. So it's been really a joy, for
Yeah,
sure.
I asked you that question because when someone is an entrepreneur and they get that aha moment or the light bulb, as you say, and they forge ahead to do what's on their mind, you find that that aha moment happens because everything you've done in the past or some things you've done in the past really anchor that decision, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that you can achieve it. So,
Yeah.
so that's great. Um, Now, your experiences helps you get into this business, but you made a statement and you said something about the power to move forward while you're trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? How do you do
That,
that?
to me, that's the biggest thing for any entrepreneur, right? You have to just go for it, even if you don't really know what you're doing. Like you have to trust that your experiences, and I'm a firm believer that you should do things that you do have a general um, it you need to have a general background, like a general
Mhm.
basis, right, for doing this thing. Um, and then you need to trust your instincts and to realize that you can figure it out and that you will figure it out along the way. Because if you have to know everything before you start, you're never going to get started. And there's a little, I wouldn't say fumbling because it's sort of like just a gentle figuring out and getting better and better as you move forward. Um, Always showing up, trusting yourself, not being afraid to um, say, I don't know. Let me find out for you. I still, to this day, there are things couples ask me or they want to do something. I'm like, I don't know. Let me see. Let me put it out to my community and
Mhm.
see if I can find an answer for you. And people prefer that. So I think that as long as you have the courage to keep moving forward and you trust yourself to keep doing the right things and to just educating yourself along the way, you can keep things on track and then just get better and better and becomes easier and easier and more fun and all that stuff. So,
Great,
yeah.
great. Well, speak to all the entrepreneurs out there that have these ideas and they're worried or fearful of moving forward and to go for it. Um, you knew right away this is what you wanted to do, but what about the cost, the timing, the turning over of your revenue? Now you got a client as soon as you went out there, but there's costs that built up the website and all that. Were you concerned about this business being profitable, or are you just so passionate about it,
Yeah.
it would have
You know,
happened eventually?
yeah, I don't let myself get fearful of that kind of stuff. I think that was something I learned um, after many years of being an entrepreneur in various ways.
Sure,
I seldom had a backup plan because I trust myself, right? So I'm like, this is going to be fine. Like, I know I can make this work. And if I need to, I could always do X, Y, Z. But I think, obviously, yes, you want to think about, will this be a profitable
sure.
business? That is something that's important, like when you start a business. But luckily, the interesting thing is that for a wedding business, in this particular case, I'm working out of my home. There were very little startup costs, right? There were very little things that I had to do.
Ah,
If
see.
we're,
Mhm.
yeah, for certain things, especially here in Hawaii, the outside costs are, I would say unless you have a brick and mortar business, there's a lot of things that you can do without a lot of overhead. And yeah, I mean, it just, uh, I'm in a group with other wedding professionals from all over the country, and
Uh,
sometimes people are asking and they're really fearful and like, just go for it, like don't stress about it, because what you do will pay for it. If you do it right, it will pay for it almost immediately, and you just have to kind of take that leap of faith and trust yourself. And other people will trust you if you trust yourself, and then of course you deliver. Um, I don't know, maybe I'm wired that way. I've just never been as, even when we moved to Hawaii, people are like, I wish I could move to Hawaii. I'm like, well, you can. You just pack and you move. That's what we did.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just a choice. And
Mhm.
then we didn't really have a plan when we moved here. And it's not like we were, oh, everything's so easy. We have so much money. It doesn't matter. That's not the case. We just made a choice. We were living in California. We said, okay, let's move to Hawaii. It was not, it was just a decision. Everything in your life is a decision. And if it doesn't work out, you can make a new decision.
Right.
That's all. Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Uh, so if I'm a couple and
Yeah.
my fiance and I are coming to you, I have my thoughts about a wedding. She has her thoughts about a wedding. And you're the person that's sitting there and you're planning all this stuff for us and taking the stress away from us and we're putting it in your hands. What can I expect from you? What can we
Yeah.
expect from you
Yeah.
sitting down with you for the first time?
Yeah. And most of the time, so people, I always say, look at my website. I mainly do custom weddings, and they're much more simplified than a regular wedding. I would say the max amount of people that we handle is 35. So
Mm.
they're small, anywhere from just the couple to up to 35 people, because also the beaches have limits here. So if we're doing it on a beach,
Oh, okay.
that's pretty much the limit. Really 30, but we can squeeze it sometimes up to 35. And so we sit down, they kind of know. A lot of times it's someone's, not always, but often it's a second wedding. Like when people decide to get married in Hawaii, they're like, we did the big wedding the first time. Now we know we really just wanted, all we ever really wanted was to get married in Hawaii on the beach. um, or it's obviously, I do a lot of first weddings as well. And
Hmm.
um, people are already prepared for something a little simpler, but still, like you say, sometimes people have different ideas. So before we even do anything, I sit down with a couple on a Zoom call. I always require both people to be there, so there's no miscommunication. And I ask them about how they met, the things that are important to them, why their wedding is important to them. We kind of dig in, and it is really surprising because sometimes people don't realize they're not aligned. And then they're like, what? Really? Oh, I thought this, and so that's really fascinating to watch. Most of the time, people are on the same page, but occasionally not.
Hmm.
Um, and then we try and come up with usually there's a clear vision at the end, and then I create a custom proposal. And then should we work together, then we sit down and we dig into the things that need to be decided, which honestly here in Hawaii are not that. It's like your flowers, photographer, and then I usually help people arrange a post-wedding celebration of some sort. Usually that's a really nice dinner somewhere. Most of the time my couples don't want a big dancing and, like they don't want the whole regular
Mm.
reception.
Okay.
They want a
Okay.
little simpler. So but the main thing is that there is, and there are a lot of ways that are, I feel like there's a lot of very impersonal service today. And my whole point is that I feel like this is one of the most special days of your life, even if it's simple, even if you're, quote, just coming to Hawaii and it shouldn't be stressful. I feel like it should still feel you have someone taking care of you, that it's really fun, that I've got you. Um, and to make it something meaningful. Like I feel like a wedding should be meaningful. I care about all of my couples' weddings. I want it to be amazing, and I feel like I have the best, like nicest couples ever. I feel really lucky about
Nice.
that too.
And
Yeah,
what year again did you start this business?
2015. So it's
So in
been over 10 years.
2015, going
Yeah,
on 10 years. So
yeah.
Becky, give us a story of that train wreck that happened and you still got it done. And at the end, it turned out okay. Did you
I
have
feel
any
like
of those?
I don't really have too many of those, honestly.
Wow, that's awesome.
I feel like if anything, there's been a couple of times where one of the couple is late, like they're on their way, but they're lost or they like forgot. I had a couple months ago, I had a bride whose sister, the bride and her sisters were coming in a separate car. And one of the sisters forgot something back at the rental house. So they all had to drive back. And so the bride was really late to the wedding and she was really stressed out. Um, I feel like that is usually the big stressor, like, like someone's a little later than they were expecting. And here, when you're doing a wedding at sunset, there is a time limit. Sun
Ah,
goes down.
right,
So
right.
then we try to create it so it doesn't feel rushed. And at the same time, my goal is to help everyone feel calm and that we got time to do everything that is necessary. Oh, and I have had a couple of people like last minute think they're calling off the wedding. They call off the wedding, and then they call it back on, and that's always interesting. But
Mm,
I try and support people through whatever it is that doesn't happen very often. I would say out of the almost 800 weddings I've done, that has happened like twice, maybe three times, most
no.
at the most. But I'm there to support whatever decisions people make and try and help it be as smooth. And then again, several times it's like, oh no, we're going to do it. Can we do it a couple days later? We reconciled and we have decided, and so I have to call everybody and we try and make it happen for them, and it works out great. So
Yeah.
I always feel like I try not to get too ruffled,
Hmm.
and just, you know, roll with the punches and hold everything together.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean,
yeah.
if you get ruffled, you'll get them ruffled. So they see a
Yeah.
calm person under control, who's got everything ready and handled for them to just have the experience that they want. And then what one thing you mentioned that caught my that triggered me was the sunset. You want the best pictures at sunset. You don't want to miss that.
That's right. And the other thing is like, because once the sun goes down, it's dark. Like there is not a big twilight here in Hawaii, so you have maybe 30 minutes, and the beaches close like 30 minutes after sunset. It's dark.
Uh,
So if you're doing a sunset wedding, typically we do an hour to an hour and a half before sunset on the beach. Maximum 2 hours. Most people don't want that many photos on the beach. It's like a long, it's a lot of time. So it's finite, right? So if people are late, the sun sets and then it's dark. And so, yeah, so we just have to watch that. And that, occasionally can be, how can I put it? That can occasionally be something that,
hmm.
um, well, can be a tiny bit stressful, but I try not
Yeah.
to, I just try and keep things in order moving
Right.
along.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
understood. Understood. Now, weddings can be very expensive. You're in Hawaii, so people are flying over there. They got their airline tickets. So, kind of give us a floor and a ceiling, if there's no ceiling at all. Some of a price range of what you would charge for a wedding of 30 people, so that the
Oh,
audience has an idea of how they can
yeah.
work with you.
Yeah, I would say, it depends on what they're looking for, but I would say for the ceremony, and now when people are paying me, I include music, flowers, the
Oh, okay.
officiation, the planning, um, often the assistance with their post-wedding celebration. I don't typically go there, but I'll help them arrange and get quotes for photographers. I don't typically include photography, although I can, mainly because I feel like that's a really personal choice, and I want to help people pick the right person for them. There's a lot of
Right.
different styles here. Um, so depending on all of that stuff, and do they want ladies for every guest, and so there's a
Hmm.
huge range, but I would say typically you're looking at spending with hair and makeup and photography and everything between, I would say, $7,000 to $10,000 max. Could be less than that, depending. Sometimes people are like, "Hey, just lace for us, no bouquet, no nothing." Like no, so it
Right.
could be less.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and then I also do last minute elopements for people planning 1 week out or less, and that's $9.95. I
Hmm.
have if you have guests, it's $12.95. So like there's a little. Um, there are little last minute things that people can do. And then I have set
Sure.
pricing often for vow renewals, which are a little less than, I also have 3 month out or less pricing for people just doing something very simple, for weddings as well. So it's a big, huge range depending on what it is that they're looking for. Uh,
Sure.
yeah.
That's very reasonable because, around us in the States, people are paying a lot more
Oh, yeah.
than that for weddings. So that's awesome. That's good for them to know. So,
Yeah.
so tell us, uh, what were your challenges? What were the biggest challenges that you faced starting the business? Any at all?
Um, Before I answer that, the only other thing I want to say about pricing, Charles, is that I want people to also consider how much dinner will cost. Food is expensive here in Hawaii. So if you're
Uh,
doing a post wedding celebration, that can be quite a bit if you have a lot of people. And also, of course, your airfare and your hotel and your car. Add all of those things in, it's still going to be a bargain compared to a regular wedding.
oh,
So, but
absolutely.
to be prepared, like you can't, like, don't, I don't know. Sometimes people are like, but it should be, why can't it be $500? I'm like, this
Right.
is Hawaii. Like, I don't know where on earth you think that would be a reasonable thing anywhere. But anyway,
Right.
Um,
Well, you mentioned that, but I think the audience got it. That it's
yeah,
a great opportunity to have a destination wedding and have you plan it all. And by you doing it, you can even negotiate their fees and everything. But it's all in your hands. That's what the real
yeah,
bargain is. Yeah, it's
yeah,
all in your
yeah,
hands.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of challenges, I wouldn't really say that I had too many.
Hmm.
I mean, sure, I've had ups and downs. I think the biggest thing is when I was finding my footing when I very first started, and this is sort of a tip for other entrepreneurs. The scary thing is who's gonna be your first person, right? Who's gonna trust you? My very first person that booked me was someone who knew me, right? I did a vow renewal for her parents. It was their 50th wedding anniversary vow renewal. But my first couple that didn't know me, it was like it was a you kind of have to just fake it till you make it, I guess. Just give them the trust. And as you build, people will trust you, and as long as you deliver, um, people will keep coming, and then your reputation will build, and then people will trust you, and then you've built the trust, and then you don't have to worry about it. um, so I always feel like the biggest hurdle maybe is learning a bunch of stuff that you don't know yet, right? So you're
Sure.
learning a bunch of things. And then also, of course, um, I had to establish a bunch of relationships with people here. I had already started doing that, but it took some time to establish some good relationships. I have a woman that I use for all of my flowers that I've been using for 10 years now.
Oh, okay.
I have a guy I get my loose blooms from, a farmer. He moved, someone took him over, but still I have that relationship there. And then I know tons of photographers and all the good places for afterwards. And now I
Mm,
know so many people in the community. It's very helpful.
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
but there's the time, right? When you're starting, there's a lot of stuff you don't know. At least in
Yeah.
this case.
You put 10 years in. That's a lot of time. It takes usually 5 years, 4 to 5 years for a business to take off, and you've beat those odds. You've gotten your first client after you got your website started.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Um, now that you have everything in place, what does the future look like for your business? Where do you see the growth and development of what you're doing right now?
That's interesting. I feel like my main goal is to continue to really deliver beautiful, thoughtful weddings for couples that are really looking for a personal, stress-free experience. Because I feel like, again, there is this trend here anyway of like, oh, I can just pick everything I want, like a McDonald's menu, and just order it for my wedding.
Mm,
And I'm looking for more the couple that really wants to. Usually I would say a majority of my couples are older,
mhm.
in their 40s and 50s, or late 30s maybe. I do have occasional younger couples who are wonderful, but I look for people who are like, hey, I just want you to take care of it. I just want to have it wonderful. Like, we know how much things cost. We're cool with that. They're very low maintenance. I do. I love working. I work a lot with. Ironically, a lot of my brides are doctors. They're really busy, and this is not their forte. And they're like, "I trust you. Just make it beautiful." So I feel like the future really is on growing the business, in the sense I feel like it's kind of where I like it, but I would love to attract more couples who really want that curated personal experience, who, um, of course, are willing to pay for quality, and they just want that really nice experience, because that's what I offer. And sometimes that's hard to get across on a website. I do my best to do that. I have a lot
Mhm.
of really beautiful reviews, but still, it's like most of the time people say once they have a Zoom call with me, then they understand. And they're like, oh, now I get it. So, yeah, I guess I feel like part of the beauty of doing something like this is that people get to have a little bit more of an experience of me, and maybe what the experience is like before,
Right.
help them feel a
You,
little
you you
better.
mentioned a couple of stats that I didn't think about, but the fact that you're getting mostly older couples, with the
Hmm.
divorce rate in the stats in the country being around 50% or something around there, that I think most of the people who get remarried for a second time would rather go to Hawaii and not do the
Yeah.
300 person wedding
Yes.
again and do a destination. So you might have found your niche
Yeah.
and in Hawaii, of all places where a lot of people like to go. So I can see now why your business is taking off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That,
I mean, it's a really special thing. And again, I really, um, I love, I love, sometimes I get people and they say, "Oh, we're old." I'm like, "You're not old. You're younger than I am." But regardless, sometimes people, and I think just because you're getting married, like there's no age. I have married people in their 80s, um, both couple in their both bride and groom in their 80s. Just a wedding, not a vow renewal, but a wedding. Um, I marry people who have, they each have 4 children and they want to bring all the kids together. And there's like all these beautiful. I feel like I get I have the best job in the world because I get to see people a lot of times who have a second chance, who have found a better love maybe or a fuller love than they thought that they could ever have. Um, and I get to join them together, and it's like such an honor to be a part of their experience and to be a part of that special day, and to bring 2 people together in love and to see their love story kind of unfold. It's really fun.
hmm
I feel really lucky.
No, that is awesome. Yeah, hey, you never know. I might be coming to see you because I've gotten divorced about 6 years ago, found someone new, and
Oh, it's exciting.
yeah. So you know that as long as you have baby hydrangeas, then it can work.
Well, I don't know. Hydrangeas in Hawaii are a challenge, but
Yeah, very
we'll
tough.
see.
Very tough, very tough, very tough. So let me ask you this one last question before we begin to wind things up. You got married in Hawaii. Uh,
Hmm.
you and your husband got married, and then when you got there and you moved there, you had some challenges.
Yeah,
Now, did you start the business and then you had some challenges, health challenges, or it was after that that you
it was
found out?
after that. It was after that because I feel like I had time to sit and think about what was really important to me.
Ah,
And the answer just kept coming back, like love is the center of everything that I do.
yes.
And so then I wrote that book on manifesting your perfect mate, which I will be republishing this year, kind of giving it some freshness.
Hmm.
And then I was really working through my dating and relationship coaching. And then this wedding business sort of fell into place. So I feel like once I made that decision, all of the other things kind of fell into place.
Right.
So yeah.
But we can't leave without talking about Aloha Adventures.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit of, there it is.
there it
Hold
is.
it up, put it closer to the camera. We can see it. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us
Yeah.
about it.
So this coloring book, by the way, obviously these 3 characters, there's a sloth, a llama, and a baby hippo. They are not native to Hawaii, clearly, but there is a little chameleon that is hidden in every single scene of the coloring book. And these 3 characters take a little adventure through Hawaii. They do various activities, things
Ah,
that you might do while you're here in Hawaii.
right.
Um, just like visiting the big tikis or hula dancing.
Nice.
Just having a zip lining. Like there's a lot of fun adventures that they have, and they go through. So it's just a really fun and really cute coloring book. And the idea is when we created this, we wanted to create something um, for people like, again, we have couples that come with a lot of children, and we wanted to create something where they could get their kids excited for coming to, not that they wouldn't be, but something excited to come to Hawaii, something they could do while they're here, and then also something to remember the trip by afterwards, things that remind them
Sure.
of Hawaii. And then also, by the way, this is totally appropriate for, I have a lot of people, I have former brides who purchase it, they're like, I love coloring. There's, as we all know, a huge, and maybe you don't know, Charles, but there's a huge adult coloring movement because it's very stress relieving. So if you just want a virtual trip to Hawaii, this is a great way to do that and to have a really fun time with that. So it's been a super fun. I feel so grateful, and everyone who's gotten is like, oh my god, this is so fun. I have a former bride who has a daycare, and she bought it and she said, I almost don't want to rip the pages out for the kids. This is so cute, like
Well,
so
now,
cute. I just love it so much. So
so
I'm like,
now we
okay, just
know.
buy more books. But
Yes. Now we know that you can give that to the kids and the adults, and it can be a family coloring experience on the plane
totally.
ride over.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
yep.
So,
And
so
while you're,
why don't you take the last 10, 15 seconds and capture today's conversation and give us the 1 or 2 points that you want to leave the audience with.
I would say, if you're looking for a really uh, beautiful, stress-free wedding experience where I'm going to take, like, basically, you just get to show up. That's why it's called Simple Kona Beach Weddings. I make things simple for you. I just want you to have the most beautiful, wonderful experience possible here on the beach for your wedding. So I'm going to take care of you. And yeah, just trust me along the way. Yeah.
Right. Becky, thank you for attending the show. Thank you for the audience for attending another show also of Undiscovered Gems. I'm your host, Charles D. Smith, former NBA player. You've heard from Becky Ringler in Hawaii, Kona. Go see her. Look at her website,
Simple
simplykonabeachweddings.com.
Kona Beach Weddings. Simple Kona Beach.
Simplekonabeachweddings.com.
Yes.
And if you are there and you want that experience, she'll take care of it for you. Becky,
Yes.
thanks for attending today. It was a great show.
Thanks so much, Charles. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it.